Today I'm going to present you some information on fake news. Information perception, bias and fake news. Perception is how we perceive information, how we get information, and our attitude to the information. This is perception. Восприятие. Bias, предвзятость, fake news, ненастоящие новости. So first of all, I'd like you to look at the picture, which claims that everything we hear is an opinion, not fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. So how we translate this? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Because every day you hear lots of news on TV, on mass media, or whatever. Does it mean that you don't have to believe everything you hear? Or everything you see? If you want. So exactly, we are going to speak about how to treat information we hear and see on the internet or on any mass media source. So you see two people, they are arguing about if there are 4 tubes or only 3 of them. It depends on how you see it. Exactly, we are going to talk about how you perceive information. So think about your day, your everyday life. How often do you see and hear news and media messages? Under media messages, we understand every type of content, not necessarily news, but how often?
Every day.
Every day?
Yes.
Can you imagine a day without smartphone?
Yes, of course.
Can you?
No.
Okay. When and where do you see them?
On
social media.
Social media.
From other people who
From
know
other
about
people.
something.
And when do you hear it? In the morning, in the afternoon? All the day, because we are all communicating. Yes, exactly. So are all the messages you hear reliable?
No.
So reliable means trustworthy, something that you can believe and trust. That is called reliable. Are all the messages reliable? No.
Maybe half of the not
Maybe
all,
half.
but most of the news is reliable. Yes, we are a politician and we must know about them. So much main news, politician news.
Okay. You say some of them, you say half of them, but how do you know? How do you know
We
what-
check on the internet. It's
But again,
several websites.
in several websites.
Yes.
Actually, you have to read more than one source. That is the answer. And we are going to speak about it. So, types of media. You all mentioned social media. Actually, this is the next slide. You already know what a social media is, but internet was not there all the time. It's a recent phenomenon. And previously, people used to read newspapers, magazines, and they are called print media. Everything we speak about is a traditional media sources. When we say traditional, we mean print media, like newspapers and magazines. And later on, we are going to speak about radio and television, which replaced print media. So, and it's different from the social media in what way? All the traditional media is different in the speed of information conveying, which means that when something happens, newspaper can highlight this event only in some time. Next day, maybe if it's a daily newspaper, or probably it's a weekly newspaper, then you're going to know the news a week later. Television is much faster about it, because of live broadcasting. So something happens, and you have people, journalists, who are always there in the event site, and they broadcast live, and you can see the information. So what you have to know about traditional media is to create a traditional media message is very expensive. You need special people, you need a team, you need an equipment like camera or whatever, microphones, and you need to pay those people who create news. There are a lot of money. That's why only companies, only big companies, and only governments have enough resource, have enough money to create media messages for traditional media. That's why sometimes we can say that a television program, news program on TV, or a newspaper can belong to government or to some company. This is very important to know when you see the news, when you perceive the news. You already mentioned about social media. You already know what is it because you use it every day. It's much more convenient than traditional media. Why? Because it allows us to create user-created content. What does it mean? User-created content can create news.
Everyone?
Everyone. Just person like me and you, all of you, we can create news. We can make a post, a blog in the social media website, and it works. It is a two-way communication, which means you do not only receive the information, you can react to the information. The same minute, the same day, the same second you hear it or you read it. It doesn't work with the television and newspaper. When you just read newspaper, when you just watch news on TV, you can only perceive information and your attitude to news remains with you. But if it's a media content from social media, you can react. This is two-way communication. You can type your comment, you can share, you can agree and disagree. You can show it through the media. And information can be spread in your online social network. Under online social network, we understand all the people you communicate with. Your followers, your friends in social media. All the people you communicate to is your personal social network. This is the group you share information with. We say mass media. We unite traditional media and social media together. And nowadays we call it mass media. It includes both. So mass, it is because it reaches a big amount of people. It has a huge coverage and it reaches large number of people. That's why it's called mass. Like massive. Well, we already established that if you can easily share the information, then you can easily spread the information and you can easily comment on the information. But I have a question to all of you. Is it good or bad to spread the information that quickly? Is social media good or bad?
Good.
In what way is it good?
Because we know everything what we want, and we check on the internet, on social media, but it's hard on the mental health people, because most of the people don't have some strong mental health, and they react so sensitive.
It's bad in the sense that it can offend somebody's feelings.
Yes.
It can hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah. And actually, you are right, there are some negative and positive sides of the social media, so let's look at some pros and cons. Pros and cons means that pluses and minuses of social media. Among the pluses, it unites people. We already established that you have lots of friends online. Some people you don't really know in person, right? How many friends do you have on Facebook or Instagram?
Not more, 20%.
Not more than 20?
2,000.
Oh.
200.
200, 2,000.
On
Actually, some people have about 2,000. Actually, some people have about 200. It depends on your social network. But it unites people. Is information access? Has already been said, so you can easily find any information when you see the information is interesting enough, you can just click one button and that's it. Your information is spread very quickly and very easily. So different opinions. It is good in a sense that you do not judge only on one perspective. You see all the opinions about the problem, and this is a positive side. It can serve as a tool to assist people, to help people. So for example, somebody claims for money for children operations. Many people can help. They can organize a community and help. Many people want to study a language, so they use social media and it helps them. This is about ability to educate yourself. Especially after the pandemics of COVID, there are a lot of online courses in the internet, so you can easily educate yourself. This is a plus of social media. And convenient pace. Sitting at home on your sofa, you can pay for your apartment, for your education. It's very easy due to social media and due to some tools. What about negative sides? Inappropriate information or inappropriate content. What content might be inappropriate? Something you don't want to see in the internet. It depends on your age, on your social status, on your religion and beliefs, on your lifestyle, on the country you live in. It depends. For example, what is appropriate for me is not appropriate for a little kid, for example, or for an adult person, or for an old person. Some information can be inappropriate. So unreal expectations and self-image. Social media can influence your self-image and your personal attitude to yourself. Like when you use Instagram, everybody's perfect there, right? And we want to be perfect ourselves, but many people cannot tell reality from the Instagram picture, and they suffer. Cyberbullying. Do you know what bullying is? What is bullying? Что это буллинг такое?
Издевательство человека, именно в просторах интернета,
Да, когда
враждебные высказывания или же, например, просто так жаловаться на контент, который человек и так далее.
Оскорбление.
So, yeah, this is actually when you say negative things about a person or about an event, and cyber says that this happens online. Like you post a picture and somebody comments, we call them haters, right? And somebody says, oh, you look very fat. Don't make such pictures. Don't
Especially
post such
haters are for like the stars,
Mhm.
like pop stars or maybe singers or actors.
Yes, but celebrities, the problem is that celebrities got used to that attitude. But ordinary people like me and you, we got offended. Если мне кто-то напишет под комментарием, ты что такая толстая на этой фотографии, я обижусь и больше не буду фотографироваться, возможно, а может пойду суицид совершу. So hacking profiles, sometimes it happens that your profile can be hacked and somebody uses your information to persuade your friends in something or to spread inappropriate content information. Кто-то может взломать вполне ваш сайт, воспользоваться вашим же веб-сайтом, чтобы распространять какую-то информацию. Хорошо, если среди ваших друзей, а то от вашего имени заявление делается. So, social media causes addiction and FOMO. Can any one of you imagine a single day without your cell phone? Can you? Кто может представить свой день без телефона вообще? So those who can, you are lucky people, you don't suffer FOMO, like fear of missing out. Страх выпасть из этой реальности, да? Некоторые люди прям с утра, не успев проснуться, they grab their cell phones to look what's happening there. Fraud. Yep. What is fraud? For example, some person calls you or drops you a message that I urgently need some money because something happened. Мошенничество. It can be via hacked profiles, or it can be via email. When somebody writes you, you make friends very easy and very quickly, and then they ask for something, for money, for anything. This is fraud. So these are pros and cons. The reliability of social media. So, asking the question, how much we can trust something we see or hear. We already established about pluses and minuses here, about sharing information, about easily accessible content. So, look at this part. What information would you share? Would you personally share? Like shocking news about celebrities. Would you share that?
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because we know that other people who are in our followers are too interested in these celebrities. And maybe that's why. Or just maybe to express your feelings through these stories or publications.
But does this information matter? Is this information important during the day?
Or is just for you?
Just for you, just for your followers?
Yeah.
Funny videos from YouTube and TikTok.
Yes.
Do you share them?
Yeah.
A lot, right?
Not a lot, but sometimes.
But why do you do that?
Because when I find a video when the video shows your life, like life in this video is similar to your life.
Maybe you show
That's why
your
you
personality, what you want, what you like.
Yeah, it recalls your life, so you want your friends to see what's happening. Maybe you want them to have fun.
And others, followers react to your something like stories or posts,
Exactly.
and you find a friend.
Exactly. So prayer for help. If somebody applies for some help, maybe money, maybe some assistance, any kind of help, would you share this information?
Yes.
All the time?
Not all the time, but when I can. When I'm sure that this information is true.
Exactly. When you are sure. You have to double check the information because 4 years ago, 2 years ago, there was an occasion that one of my friends downloaded a picture of one boy claiming that he got lost from his house and his parents are very depressed. Please help to find this boy. But when I checked information in the internet, it turns out that this picture is 2 years old already, and this boy was found a week after he got lost, and he's already home. His parents don't cry anymore, but the picture is still floating in the internet, and people continue sharing. That's why you have to double check. If somebody can just take your money, yeah. Probably the person who claims for urgent operation is already dead. How do you know? You never know that. So, cancellation of classes. Would you share this? Если пары отменили, поделитесь такой информацией? Even teachers, да, даже преподаватели сразу напишут: «Ура! Занятий не будет». So, we came to a point that we always have to check what we see in the internet, and the easiest way to do it is to ask yourself where the information is coming from. You always have to check the source. The source should be reliable. That's why. Try to find evidence. So any time you see some information, you have to ask yourself, is it true? How do you check? You find for evidence, probably some witness, probably some expert who provide the information, they give the information. And this is a red line. If you see a big claim in social media, then you should ask for a big evidence. The bigger the claim is, the bigger evidence you have to ask. То есть, если в СМИ заявление очень громкое, доказательства должны быть не менее громкие. Да? consider bias. Всегда учитывайте предвзятость информации. Do you know what a bias is? You know, you seem to know everything, right? Я вас учу тому, чему уже учить не нужно, да? So bias means that you show some opinion about some situation, but this opinion is not based on facts, or it is not based on all of the facts. How can we see that information is biased? So you have to again ask those questions. When, who, why, and which point of view was presented in the content, in the information. So here is a quotation. Would you believe this one? Yeah, Abraham Lincoln said that. Did he? How do you know? It is a picture, it is a quotation, and it is a quotation marks. This is true.
The period of that time when the internet wasn't existing.
You have to always analyze what you see. Sometimes it's evident, like here, sometimes it's hidden. То есть иногда не всегда настолько ясно, что вам нужно, но бывает. So, let's speak about bias. It can be bias by omission, bias by placement, and bias by spin. 3 types of bias. How do they trick you when provide information? How do they do it? Bias by omission. So when somebody wants you to see the information but not hold only the part of it, it is called bias by omission. Omission means like to leave out some information from the general content. It can be only one side of information, like here one-sided stories. The story can be only described from one point of view, or avoiding coverage. When the media company is not publishing something, or it hides the information, it doesn't provide coverage, the whole coverage of the information. So why don't they give us the whole information, the whole picture? Why do they only present one point of view? Because we already spoke that media channels, they can belong to government or to some big companies. And they do not coincide in their interests sometimes, and this is a conflict of interest. That's why they present information only from one side, one point of view. That's why you have to read as many sources as you can on this information. Bias by placement. What does it mean? It means like the information is situated in some place. For example, you take the newspaper, and this is a breaking news on the front page. That's why you think that this information is very important, because it's on the front page. But it's not always like that. Probably the important information is on the back page of the newspapers, written with small letters, because somebody doesn't want us to think that this information is important. And depending on where the information is, we can judge if it's important or not, and sometimes this is made deliberately. They on purpose do that. The biggest role here is the role of editors, because they are people who decide where to put the information and how to write the information. And sensationalism. So we always perceive the information which is a sensation, which is written with capital letters, with nice pictures, or sometimes with terrible pictures, and we perceive this information. But we have to ask ourselves all the time if this is really important, or it's only a sensation. Нужно всегда себя спрашивать, да, это только для сенсации делается или нет. And the last one, bias by spin. When we see bias by spin, it means that somebody, some publisher, some newspaper, some social media can persuade us to feel different way about the news. When somebody uses words and information that make us feel somehow positive or negative about the news. This is bias by spin. Like, for example, the most discussed information among us teachers is a raise of salary. Ну да, мы с учителями обсуждаем. Because some source claims that, okay, government said that salaries would be raised and we have enough of money and we are very happy about this information. But we see other source that says, yes, the government made that order, but there are no money in the country. So we feel very negative, we feel very angry about the information that they only promise but never do something. Right? It depends on what words are used. And the main tool is a pundit. Who knows who is a pundit? Знаете, кто такие пандиты? They are people like you and me, but they are more influential. They can be celebrities, politicians, experts, and they are on purpose invited to tell you something. The person whom you believe. Pundit is a person whom you're likely to believe, but he or she says something. То есть тот, кому вы более всего, вероятнее всего поверите. Их привлекают специально для того, чтобы они предоставили информацию в том или ином свете. Has anyone seen the appeal of Arnold Schwarzenegger to the people? Никто не видел обращение Арнольда Шварценеггера по поводу Украины? So this is the person you are likely to believe. He is a pundit here. Вот его использовали в качестве такого лица, которому большинство поверит. Это основной инструмент. Overcoming bias. Every time you read the information, when you see that something is missing out from the source, you can ask yourself what points of view are missing, what might be missing in the information. That's how you know, that's how you analyze. Whenever you think that the information is placed in some inappropriate place, inappropriate site, you have to ask yourself how important this information is and why is it placed on the front or on the back page. You have to ask yourself to analyze. And finally, if you think that there is bias of spin, you can ask yourself, does this message want me to have positive or negative attitude towards it? You only have to think that somebody probably wants you to feel definite way about it. So, this is about theoretical part. I guess we are very quick. In case you have any questions, you can ask. In case you don't, let's make some activity.
We don't have to do it.
Okay. Now, you're going to be news creators yourself. I have 5 pictures here. Actually, all the information is provided here by you. A picture, its title, what is it? It's written here. Where did it happen? It's already here. And when did it happen? The date. Когда это случилось, где это случилось, как это называется, и даже картинка. Ваша задача сейчас создать новость, исходя из фактов, которые я вам предоставила. А потом мы вернемся к настоящим новостям и посмотрим, насколько правдиво вы смогли передать информацию, исходя из того, что у вас есть. Картинок 5, вы можете создать 5 групп.
Because we saw it so many times and hear about it so many times. So recording started from the hard transplant operation in 1987. This event took place in Poland, if I'm not mistaken. And this operation lasted about 23, 24 hours and ended successfully. As you can see,
the assistant went sleep in the corner of the operation room, and the doctor is
Exhausted?
they are very exhausted, and the doctor is like now looking for the
new heart.
New heart beating.
reading of new heart.
So, do you believe this news really happened like this?
Yeah.
Actually, they were doctors who have been operating for 23 hours. Yeah, right. And this operation was successful, and this was the first heart transplant operation. And you know the facts, when and where it happened. So, you could convey the news exactly as they were. Good of you.
Good afternoon, everyone. How was your day? How are you guys? Our news about the hero. We decided to call our news the animal not worse than the people, because this news will be about the dog. His name is the Zaitseva. So this dog, it's the really polygular dog, because he saved a lot of people, more than 100 people. He saved the people, he took off the people when the buildings was being on fire. Sure, he helped, and also he found a lot of the drug takers, as you know, and I just want to say that this dog is the hero. And why we decided that this dog is the I just want to add that this dog worked also with the police, the police dog, as you can see, because we decided that here in the picture, this is the police officer, and we decided that sure, it's the hero who saved a lot of people, more than 100 people, I think.
But now he's dead.
Yeah, but now he's dead. He did sensational things when he wanted to save the children. As you know, in India, it's happened in India. As you know, in India, there are a lot of people who can stole the people, the guys, especially the children. He wanted to save, and after that, he took the injured and died. And so, thank you very much.
The guys claim that this dog was dead because it was injured during the operation. Yeah, it was a heroic dog really, and it served for police. His name is Zanjir, and he was bomb detecting dog. And actually he died because he was very old and he developed some cancer. You see? Because we are lacking some information we can convey in our own way. Some of the information is true, but some information can be missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
We tried.
You
Our new hello, colleagues, I'm 6 to 19, and our news is about earthquake on Haiti. And an accident that occurred in 2010 brought huge losses and died after that. In this occasion, around 3,000 people, and the government are trying to resolve this situation. Our rescue service were involved, and this accident happened in January 2020 in 2010, and released by BBC, and we can see this website.
Okay. Good news from BBC channel. How do you know this is from BBC channel? So actually, let's look at what has really happened. Are there any information about people died?
No.
No, we don't have information about 3,000 people who died actually. This is correct. But we only have information about devastations and about one single woman walking just among all these devastations, and no relationship to BBC as I can see. AP,
We just create.
something. Yeah, you just created something. This is like
Biased.
not fake, but they are biased somehow. Because probably this group wanted us to see all the terror of the situation by saying that people died, 3,000 people died. But we don't have this information here. Good job. Great.
There is a picture where it's represented the self-immolation of a Buddhist monk. We give some type of Vietnamese fire because the picture is connected with the events in Vietnam. To be more precise, war in Vietnam was first in June 11, 1963, and was some deaths of civilians, and monk publicly burned himself to protest war.
Okay. This monk actually burned himself. But what he actually protested, were there civilian deaths? Probably not, because Vietnamese authorities, they didn't approve the idea of Buddhism in Vietnam, and to show that spirit, that is what important. This monk burned himself, immolated himself, just publicly, but actually no relation to war. You see? That's how fake news will work. You did a great job. But so that's it for today. That's how you see the news are created. Apart from the information about the place, about what actually happened, you have to know the background of the story to create some news that they could be reliable, right?
Thank you.
And next time when you think of publishing some news or when conveying some information to others, please analyze what you tell, what you see, what you hear, and what you tell to other people. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.